So you have a mother by the name of Keturah Stokes. Now she is making sure to let everyone know what happened to her 12-year-old son in the Palmdale School District in California. Now her son is a 6th grader, and they caught this teacher making racist remarks on good old Zoom. See, Zoom has exposed them left and right, from racism to, people like Jeffrey Toobin being Mr. Jackie, and getting fired. Now, can you imagine that? You're supposed to be finishing a meeting and you can't control yourself enough that you're going to get in front of the computer and be Mr. Jackie. Boy, how do you live that down? Anyway, so they were saying that the mother is, definitely going to do something about it and even has attorneys. So they said that it likely was going to lead to a lawsuit. So you had this teacher by the name of Kimberly Newman. Now, I want you to hear exactly what she says about black people. And they were saying in this video that she was actually speaking to her husband. She thought that the Zoom call was over. So as you have a black parent talking to the child's teacher about distance learning and how they kind of struggling with it, which a lot of kids, this struggle with this Zoom, classes. But after the fact, this is what the teacher's really thinking about you. But let's go ahead and roll that clip.
All year, right? She keeps calling the school and complaining, and the teachers are just pissed off beyond belief. It's because she thought I was her friend Natalie. When I called, because I've got a message from the office, Mom's calling, if she's screaming and yelling, nobody calls her back. I called her like 5 million times. I sent her 5 million threats for her. She never responds. So I said, she goes, I call her, right? And leave a message. She doesn't bother to check the message. She just thought the number was her friend Natalie. So she calls me back. My phone rings. I'm like, hello? She goes, hi, Natalie. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this isn't Natalie. This is oh. Now she's caught. Because she's answered her phone for the first time in the entire year. I mean, these parents, that's what kind of piece of they're black. He's black. They're black family.
I know it.
I'm seeing what you're not going through.
Yeah, that's what happened. There's no problem there. Your son has learned to lie to everybody and make excuses.
Are you
to be entitled. Because you taught him to make excuses that nothing is his fault. This is what black people do. This is what black people do. White people do it too, but black people do it way more. Oh my god, I just burned her. I just burned her. Everybody is like thrilled all year. And it never would have happened had she not thought I was Natalie.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
So you heard this teacher say this is what black people do and nothing is never their fault and all the things, the same old, racist, white supremacist rhetoric. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. We see this in the college, university, same thing happen. I mean, we covered something similar to this out of Georgetown University last week on the African Diaspora News Insider channel. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. We post things on the African Diaspora News channel and African Diaspora News Insider. If you want to get all the news you can, the ones that we give out, freely to everybody, make sure you subscribe to those channels. But last week, we covered 2 professors out of Georgetown University was caught on Zoom disparaging black people. Now you have this teacher disparaging a black child. This has been happening over and over and over and over again. And I've said this many times before. It's too much racism in this country, and the ideology of white supremacy do not allow the majority of teachers in this country that don't look like me to treat black people fairly, because the system teaches everybody to treat black people unfairly, teaches everybody black people don't have no value. And you notice I'm using the word everybody because even other black people don't value black people. So this is why I'm using the word everybody, because if you assimilate into America, even coming from other countries, you're assimilating into anti-blackness. This is why other groups come here and you say all these different people are against us as a people, is because to be an American culture is to be anti-black. That's the foundation of America. And this is why I've said before, they are too ate up with white supremacy to accurately and fairly treat our children, because it happens over and over again. See, that's the same kind of teacher that would get a record for a little black boy. You understand? So to take this little black boy from school to prison pipeline, and it starts with those white supremacist teachers that you heard on that Zoom call. That's who's sabotaging the young black boy in this country. This is why I said in my video last week about all these churches on every corner, is that instead of having all these churches on every corner, how about Monday through Friday they convert these churches to a school and let these children have schools on every corner and not freaking churches on every corner. These churches on every corner serve no purpose at all because it's not doing nothing for the black community. At least if you can convert it to a school and get some teachers in there to start educating our children so they aren't subjected to racialized psychological abuse, dealing with racialized terrorism from the race soldiers they have in the schools. The reason why our children don't like, being black and can't stand other black people is because they're taught and it's enforced in the schools that there's something wrong with being black. And we cannot subject our children to that. It's on us to sit here and make sure to not put our children in situations like that. Now, if you are an involved parent and they always see your face, they're going to go so far with your kid. But unfortunately, what happens to some, they drop their kids off at school or in front of Zoom and just kind of leave them there to do what they're going to do and not really be on them like that. People say, I got to work. Well, part of being a parent is you got to work and still be a parent at the same time. My issue with the miseducation system, this system is so, wicked. It lies about history. People come out of school who don't know the difference between nationality and ethnicity and race. You start a big ruckus with even that conversation, literally, with something you should have learned in school. They don't teach children anything. I said this before. Going to school every day, public school, was a waste of my time. I learned more outside of any kind of school than I learned in it. I could have stayed at home and learned on my own the way things went. Our children are subjugated to this. And this is about taxpayer dollars. So that's why you guys take brothers and sisters in those communities to go to those school board meetings, going to the city council and saying, hey, we're not going to be tolerating this racism. And also we need more teachers in the community. And like I said, to start opening more and more schools so our kids don't have to be racially terrorized or abused or talked about. These white supremacists, as you could understand, for January the 6th, they are everywhere. Ain't nowhere in America they're not located. That's the sad part. The only way you're going to have them not around or in something, unless they just not around that area or location or organization at all. Now, when you hear me say the terms white supremacists, there's a difference. White supremacist is not what the white media like to call a white supremacist. No, what they like to call a white supremacist is a white supremacist extremist, like, Proud Boys, Ku Klux Klan, Nazis. That's white supremacist extremists. White supremacist is just basically a person that believes that due to their white skin, they need to be superior over everybody, and that they need to control and dominate all the resources, all the money, all the jobs, just for the simple fact of the color of their skin. That's a white supremacist. And it's more white supremacists walking around than white supremacist extremists. So when you hear me use the term white supremacist, I'm using it based off of that type of definition, because a lot of them fit the term white supremacist. Because, what they try to do, they play this okie doke like, oh, only those extremists, they're the white supremacists. No, there's a whole lot walking around, a whole lot. And they are in classrooms teaching black children. And when they go home, this is how they feel about black children. And you wonder why your child struggles so much in that particular class. Or every time you look up, the teacher calling you about supposedly your son did something wrong, or always sending him out, always causing a problem. You understand? It don't be your kids a lot of times. It be these white supremacist teachers, and they just proving more and more how they are as they getting caught, through Zoom. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about, the particular video. And if you have not yet, make sure to check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in Google Play and in the